A lot of business owners fall into a trap of not charging enough. Usually because they charge what everyone else is charging, but they don't really know exactly how much to charge. How much exactly should I charge? £10 more, £10 less? It gets very confusing. So in this video, I'm gonna break down exactly how to price your services, how to know you've got enough revenue coming in to pay for everything else in the business. Pricing is the number one factor that's going to determine whether your business is profitable or not. It's the easiest one to control. And once you understand it, you would probably want to raise it even more. So let's get into it. Now, the reason that I really get excited about this topic is I've been fucked over in the past by not knowing how to price my service. I've said this story before, but when I did Airbnb, I went into a deal, didn't know about things like cost of goods, gross margin, profit, cash flow, all of these things, and I fucked myself over. I couldn't charge enough. I didn't work out how much I should have priced it, and I was on a sinking ship, and I lost a lot of money very quickly. Don't want this to happen to you. So we're gonna go over how to price your services to make sure that there's enough fat or enough of it to actually make some real money. And now I don't believe that it's helpful to say that there is a certain percentage or a certain margin that you need to hit. Instead, I'm gonna go through a filter of how you should narrow down of what you should charge and how we're gonna get to that price. First question that we're gonna ask ourselves is, very simply, how much money do we wanna make? How much money? Of course, this is actually gonna change. Some of you may just want an extra 10,000 a month, and that would do you forever. Some of you are really ambitious and want 100 million. And I don't know why you would watch this video, but let's say you're that type of person. When I was starting out, all I wanted to do was just have enough money to replace my job. £3,000. That would have done me £3,000 a month. What I wouldn't have done for £3,000 a month. We want to have this amount in mind first. I'm just gonna use an easy number and say that this amount is 100K per year, okay? You wanna make 100,000 per year, let's say, for example. Now, the second thing that you need to ask yourself is, how many customers can I realistically have before I need to scale? How many customers? Before you hire staff, before you get a new premises or whatever it needs in your business to actually scale beyond just you, how many customers can you realistically serve before that tipping point happens? So let's say you run a salon and you wanna make 100K, you could have 10 customers per day, you work 5 days a week, so 5 days a week times 10, 50 a week, 200 per month, or 24,000 or 2,400 per year. Now, what we want to do is divide how much we want to make by how many customers we can realistically serve. So in this case, if you divide 100,000 by 2,400, my calculator tells me that is, so we have a goal of £42 per customer that we need to hit our goal, our personal goal of revenue. But in business, we have so many more costs, so many more. And we need to know these things. You have rent, time, software, tax, what's called COGS. COGS is cost of goods sold, how much money it takes to deliver that service. You may need to pay or have paid in advance, or you have things that you need to deliver the service. All of this has to be accounted for. So this is where I went wrong. I saw this number and thought, well, as long as I can hit that, that'll be fine. Didn't take account any of this stuff. So how much do we need, or how much should this take? Like I said, this is very personal. Your rent, time, they may fluctuate differently, but I'm just gonna give you a rule of thumb to filter through to get that number down specifically. In my experience, in my personal opinion, and that what I would advise to you is that you want your gross margin. For those who don't know, gross margin is the percentage of how much revenue you get minus the direct costs of delivering that service. Not the actual profit, is the gross profit. If it takes £50 to do something and you charge 100, the gross margin is 50. Now, that's not the actual profit because there's things more that needs to be taken out of that amount, but this is the gross margin. And you want your gross margin to be at least 50 to 70%. Meaning, you need to calculate exactly how much it costs you to deliver that service, to deliver the goods, and your price needs to be in between these numbers. I don't want it really to be at 50. You need it to be as high as possible. Why? Let's say you run on 50% gross margins, right? And we've done the 100K example. So you have 50K. Your 50K has to cover everything in the business, every single thing. Because 50% of it, if you're doing 50% margin, has gone out the window just to do the service. So your own salary, your rent, your insurances, when things go wrong, has to be covered with just 50K. And I'm sure, hopefully I didn't, but hopefully you can see that this number will dwindle very, very fast. That means this £42 is not enough, is it? This £42 needs to be higher. The question is, how much higher? This is a good question. The answer to that question is as high as possible. The question isn't how much should I charge? The question is, what's the highest price that I could achieve through solving someone's pain? That is the real question. Now, to charge as high as possible, the question is, what do I need to do to be paid it? What do I need to do in order to be paid as much as possible for my service? This is the golden question. If you're a I don't know, I'm going to keep going back to the same example. I don't know anything about hair salons, by the way. But if I was a hair salon and I wanted to get charged as much as possible, let's say I wash, blow dry, cut the hair. I give them complimentary services. I give them discounts. I have a special technique to get rid of gray hairs. I do home visits. I do touch-ups for free. And just keep going. Think of as many things that you could possibly do for someone to pay you as much as possible. And then you just filter out what's realistic and what's just fantasy land. Go into someone's house and doing their touch-ups every single time it may happen, may not be realistic. But if you could do that, you could probably charge a lot of money. The balance is, okay, this is what I can realistically do. This is what I need to do to be paid that much. You don't charge exactly what it's worth, obviously. You need to charge a percentage of what that's worth. Something that I learned very recently about pricing is if you raise your price by 1%, your profit goes up by around 8%. Isn't that very interesting? A 1% increase leads to an 8% profit. Why is that? Because fluctuating price is the number one factor to get more revenue. You could cut costs, but there's only so much cost you can cut. The ceiling for how much you could charge is almost infinite. It's based on the value of what you can give to them. So hopefully this is helpful to understand your pricing. Most people, and this is another cardinal sin, most people charge what other people are charging. Most people undersell themselves because they feel some sort of insecurity. Oh, I haven't done this before, or I don't know if I'm that good, or I want to be affordable. And let me just tell you this plainly. You can't afford to be affordable, okay? You can't afford to be affordable because you don't have enough money in the business for when things go wrong. Hopefully this video was useful, and if it is, you will like the next video, which covers a lot more different stuff in business. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.